Haikyuu to the top, episode 1. Now, I gotta say, this was one of the quickest 20 minutes I have gone through for an anime in quite a while. As well, the openings, endings, it was fantastic. Openings were pretty nice, but I don't really see it replacing the 5th, 4th, or even the 3rd openings of Haikyuu in obviously the 1st, 2nd, 3rd seasons. The endings I actually enjoyed very well. I'm not really a slicker for Haikyuu endings. I do like the Bruno Mars ending 5 of Haikyuu, but I think this is a good close second. But enough about that. You guys are here for the real content. I want to say that although this was the quickest 20 minutes I've seen for an anime episode, because I'm a huge Haikyuu fan, the pacing seemed rather, I don't know how to say it, but rather rushed. I don't know if it's because I didn't watch Haikyuu for a couple of years, but the pacing just felt out of place. But besides that, I do believe the episode captured Hinata's stubbornness to a T. He was upset that Cax was invited to the National Youth Camp, and he was also annoyed that Cax was able to reach higher than him when they were measuring each volleyballer's jump for Karasuno's school team. In addition, he was upset that Suki was invited to the Miyagi camp, further annoying Hinata. Now, let's get on to Cax. Maybe I was watching a different subbed video, but at the youth camp, in the sub video, Cax says that Sakuza is the only second year there, but if you read the manga like I do, that isn't exactly true at all whatsoever. I do want to say this. One of the happiest things I've encountered about this whole episode, and I don't know if other people cared about it as much, but I personally do. But with all the great things about this episode, the best thing is that the soundtrack was kept from preceding seasons. Thankfully, it didn't go the way of Karuko no Basket, where they essentially changed the soundtracks after season 1. There's even a soundtrack that I wish I knew from Kuroko no Basket, where I forgot the person's name. Kagami was going against Ayome the first time on the court, but this is Haikyuu. We're not talking about basketball, we're talking about volleyball. Now, one thing which is both good and somewhat bad, and it could be dealing with the pacing, but I would say the animation. Now, the animation does seem rather more clean, if I have to use that word. I'm not exactly an animator myself, so I don't know what else I could say about that. But I can delve into that further with the Haikyuu Land vs. Sky OVA, which is also known as, Riku vs. Q. Hope I'm saying that right. This is where I have to go into my Mini-Rant / review. Overall, the OVAs, I would say, was rather average. Let me just break it down in the beginning. So we got the first OVA. You have you have them giving the small prologue of Team Nekoma going against Team Fukurodani. And right in the beginning, it shows Bakuto taking off his jacket, being the boss that he is, and Akashi catching that jacket. They also show both the cheer squads, which was pretty nice, but I will still delve into why I didn't really feel ecstatic about those cheer squads. Anyway, the animation is interesting to say the least, as well as the new OSTs, the new original soundtracks. I feel as though that the animation follows the ball too much in the OVA. And that's probably just me. Also, the animation seems to use a style that focuses more on close-ups of a particular player than the overall view of the team of players. It sounds confusing, I know, because I don't know the proper vocabulary to express myself, but here's what I mean. If you look at the previous seasons of Haikyuu, you can feel connected to the flow of the game and internalize the feelings and exhilaration of the spikes that are being done. Like, you could think about, Oikawa and his O.V.A, or when Yoshijima does his spikes, or even when the soundtracks are playing when Karasuno is going against numerous teams, etc. But here, it just felt so forced. Like, the only part I really enjoyed, honestly, was like the second part of the OVA, when the dude from No Hebi, number 12, Kogari, yeah, that's his name, was gonna score a point, well, he's trying to score a point, but Lev and the other dude, the replacement libero, were able to stop him and score the game set point. Now, if anything, I think the biggest reasons why the OVAs were underwhelming would have to be the pacing. And I don't know what the studios were thinking. I believe because if you read the manga, a lot of it is training, and the studio execs or animators, etc., would believe that most fans or people who watch the show wouldn't really enjoy watching the training being fleshed out a lot. I think this was also a problem, once again, diverting to another anime, Attack on Titan. What made Attack on Titan big was the fact that you had some protagonists fighting titans, and when they got into the political part, then they had to make some significant changes because they felt that people wouldn't really like the politics and would like to see the, kill. I think it's similar with Haikyuu. Anime execs said, you know what, this is great and such, but we're just going to rush this in like just 2 OVAs and less than an hour's worth of content. The manga is better fleshed out. It shows way more details, way more storytelling, and way more ideas. Like, a good example I could tell you for the non-manga readers is No Hebi's use of the refs for their side. That was not as fleshed out in the OVAs at all. Another thing is, and it's rather ridiculous, but at the end of the second OVA, you saw Fukurodani lost to Itachiyama. And if you watched the first episode of Haikyuu to the Top, then you already know who the main protagonist or antagonist, whatever, of Itachiyama is, but essentially he barely has a name inside the freaking OVA. So that's another beef I have. Overall, I like the first episode of Haikyuu to the Top. It was amazing. The pacing felt rather rushed. The art style, very similar to the OVA, I enjoyed very well. Now, for the OVAs, I'm going to say this. I felt that they were just above average. If it was, out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it like a 3.2 or 3.3. Soundtrack was nice, but pacing, horrible. They just try to rush it. Didn't enjoy that, as well as the fact that I really would have loved to see more details fleshed out from the manga. If it was out of 10 stars, once again, probably a 6 or or if I'm going to be real nice, a 7. But that's all I really have to say on the matter. In the coming weeks, I hope it's not as fast paced, because it is going to kind of scare me. And yeah, that's really just all I got to say. I'm going to probably pick off to the manga, because the manga is just... well, I'll do my manga review and you will know from there. Anyways, that's all. I hope you enjoyed this 10 minutes worth of me babbling about this great episode and OVAs. And hope you enjoy and you have a good life.